All right. I know exactly the moment in 2021 when Richard Surretter, whose work I've admired for many years, sent me this tweet. And it was a tweet about this amazing song that the brilliant and talented Forrest Brazeal had composed and performed. I was just leaving the parking lot of a grocery store with all three of my kids. I pulled over and played it for them, and they loved it just as much as I did. So obviously, I then tried to find everything that Forrest Brazeal had ever created. And in my conversations with him, I discovered that we had a bunch of things in common, including an obsession with everything related to Hamilton and Lin-Manuel Miranda. And I must confess, in my grandest and wildest dreams, if there ever were to be a Phoenix Project musical, I'm hoping it would be as amazing as what Forrest has created. The other thing I learned about Forrest is that, that musicals are just one sliver of the amazing things that Forrest has done. In particular, I continue to be blown away by the success stories from an initiative he created called the Cloud Resume Challenge. So I asked Forrest if he'd be willing to talk about his amazing work and share some of his other amazing creations with us, and I'm so delighted that he said yes. Here's Forrest. Yes.
Good evening. It's 5:28 p.m. Do you know where your digital transformation is? We know where it started, don't we? It always starts the same way. It starts with high hopes. It starts with big dreams. It starts with a vision. Picture us, glorious, rising up at last to be reborn. With cloud, big data, and AI, we'll bid our legacy ways goodbye. We're caterpillars now, but we're gonna fly. Yeah, we're gonna be transformed digitally. Never done it before, but how hard could it be? All these slide decks look so great. Set the deadline, won't be long to wait till we declare victory digitally. How hard could it be? Years pass. Alas, fighting still the fires we fought before. Our POCs looked great, so why are we not seeing ROI? And all the time our spend is climbing high. Will we ever be transformed digitally? Why didn't anyone warn us how hard it would be? Airport billboards had it wrong. Transformation's messy and it's long, and we're failing miserably. But wait, maybe transformation isn't just about technology. Maybe it starts with us, the leaders. When we address the questions that have always plagued our teams, like when we ship code to production, how disturbing are those screams? Have our results been feeble because we only pretend to train our people? And do we know our systems are secure? Are we sure? And are we helping solve the problems that face our world today? If it's hybrid work or climate change, how must we change to lead the way? If you want to turn into a butterfly, you've got to break down into goop and die. It's painful and it's gross, but if we try, well, we just might be transformed digitally. Doesn't happen at once, but continuously. We may not feel it happening, but gradually we'll grow and flex our wings. We'll achieve maturity digitally. Oh, whoa, this time you'll see we'll be transformed, probably. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. My name is Forrest Brazeal, and it's great to be here with you this evening at the the DevOps Enterprise Summit. In fact, I feel like I need to clarify, every song you will hear tonight is 100% organic, AI-free, human-generated content. Just have to say that. Bard can't do this yet. ChatGPT isn't to blame for this, at least not yet. Anyway, I work at Google Cloud. I'm their head of developer media, which is a wonderful way for me to help educate people about the cloud in fun and unusual ways. But before that, I did cloud and DevOps kinds of things at a whole bunch of different companies. And this is what would happen to us. We would go on these multi-year DevOps transformation odysseys, and at the end of that time, sometimes it seemed like all we would have accomplished is refactoring ourselves into slightly different silos. But can I confess something to you tonight? Can I be real with you? Okay, come on. You need to get back. I can't do this all by myself. Yeah, all right, good. I kind of like silos. I really do. I like them. They're warm, they're comfortable, they're safe, they're great at optimizing collaboration within functional groups. Sometimes they're full of corn. There's really no downside to a silo until it's time to change the status quo, time to change the way we do things, and then they become missile silos. And I had seen this so much at different places in my career that I felt like I had to write a song about it, and so I did. The song is called The Reorg Rag. Would you like to hear it? Yes, okay, good. All right, let's do it. So just like most reorgs, this song is a little too difficult for me to pull off, so good luck to us all. Our company used to have these big silos. We had dev and ops in 2 different rows, and they'd rarely communicate except to fight. So we said we're gonna build ourselves a dedicated DevOps team because everybody loves a go-between. We're gonna break these silos down, we're gonna do it right. We're gonna do a little reorg, yes sirree. This time we're gonna fix this company. We're gonna have this DevOps thing in the bag after one more round of the reorg rag. The DevOps team started hot as heck, but they soon became kind of a bottleneck, and instead of 2 silos, now we had 3. So we said we're gonna make dev do their own ops now. It's all in the cloud, they can figure out how, and we believe the term for this is SRE. We're gonna do another reorg, yes sirree. This time we're gonna fix this company. We're gonna storm the silos and capture the flag after one more round of the reorg rag. Well, it turns out ops is incredibly tough, and our devs soon said they'd had enough, so we brought back ops, but now they needed more. They said you're gonna need a platform team to guard and guide, and the DBAs wouldn't come along for the ride. We had silos everywhere, and they were all at war. So here's where we're at. I'm on the tooling team, which is owned by Dev, but functionally it rolls up under this new Cloud COE, which was recently spun out of Corp IT with a dotted line to security. And some of those folks still report to me. I think technically I'm my own VP. We're gonna need a bigger reorg. Yes, sirree. Somebody put us out of our misery because my optimism may start to sag. If we play another round of the play another round of the play another 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 round of the reorg rag. Thank you very much. But this is what we do, you know, and I think no matter how many organizational structures or strictures we adopt, we tend to fall back into these kind of adversarial org patterns because fundamentally we're human. We're a tribal species. We like to form groups around things, whether it's a technological thing, an organizational fad, right? We do that for sure. And then once we formed this new tribe, this new group, what do? We dig a deep moat around ourselves, and we take up pitchforks and torches to ward off the bad, ignorant people who are still using the paradigm from like 4 minutes ago. And we do this, I think, to, disguise how small and insecure we really feel. Speaking of things that are small and insecure, who here is using serverless functions in production? Some of you are. Yeah, that's great. What about Kubernetes? Who's using Kubernetes in production today? Anybody? Oh, come on. There's got to be more of you than that. We just had like 10,000 people here in Amsterdam for KubeCon. Yeah, a few of you are. Who's on the fence thinks it's all just hype at this point? Yeah, I know you're out there. Okay, well, listen. We're going to settle this tonight once and for all, and we're going to do it in the time-honored fashion. We're going to do it with a serverless versus containers rap battle. All right? So now, as you've noticed, I'm one person, so I cannot do this by myself. I'm going to need your help. So this whole half of the room, my right, your left, I'm going to need you to be my serverless fans for tonight, okay? So when I have my serverless hat on, I need you to make some noise. I need you to show serverless some love, all right? And then this side of the room on my left, when I have my containers hat on, I need you to show containers some love. Okay, so let's practice. Containers, let me hear you. Let me hear you. All right. Okay. We've got a robust containers fan club. Serverless, what do you have to say? Okay, I don't know. This is going to be close. We'll see who triumphs. All right, are we ready? Okay, drop the beat. There we go. Yeah. You can call me crazy, but that's how my mama raised me. Servers make me nervous, but serverless never fazed me. Maybe I'm just lazy, but why deploy a box when abstraction brings the action for a fraction of the cost? My code is in a zip file, requirements in a pip file, cram it in a function, and bam, all I do is ship while standing proud in the cloud on the shoulders of the giants. What you need a server for? The value's in the clients. Yeah, but I wish there was something more portable to wrap my app in. Oh, wait, there is. It's called containers. They make crap happen. Check it out. I can build the way I'm used to. Open source is dope, of course. Run it where I choose to. Automate and orchestrate with Kubernetes at the helm. Hand on my tiller, I'm a killer in the service realm. Plus all these Hello World tutorials are slick. So someone call the Docker because the stack is looking sick. See, this is what you do. It's insane. You overcomplicate the name Kubernetes so arcane you spell it with an 8. I'm no cloud economist, but I'm sure you don't want to miss the savings you could find if you put your mind to simplifying this. Are you building Pixar? Is your name John Lasseter? Then why you need a service mesh? Why you need ambassador? Istio, miss me, this kingdom isn't magic. You throw it in production and the outage is going to be tragic. Hey, take a breath, man. You ran kind of long there. Functions have a timeout. You got to save your song there. You got limitations. I run applications. Every enterprise has their eyes on containerizations. Why? Long jobs, real time, doesn't matter. I eat hard problems for mealtime, so pass the platter. So many industries left to disrupt. I know your cold start makes it hard, but try to keep up. Check it 1, 2, 3. He's getting warmer. Wait and see, the latency's no worse than your complacency. Face it, see, you're basically chasing a place you don't want to be. My services improve all by themselves. They get better. Meanwhile, you're out of luck, stuck chucking out the cheddar. Hey, remember Spectre and Meltdown? You were up all night. Me, I slept. That's right, the cloud provider kept it tight. You can patch your runtimes. I'll have happy fun times, delivering value while pal, you fight the same old fight. That's great, but wait, let's use our brains here, yo. I got constraints here. I'm running Java 8 here, digging in the brownfield, moving the ball downfield. Can't re-architect it all until we look respectable. I just want to build more. That's what I get billed for. Functions are a blast. Our past selves would have killed for. I know. I'm just saying. We're in a different state of being. Yeah, but functions are amazing. And wait, are we agreeing? Obviously, both of us have the same destination. Get rid of heavy lifting without differentiation. So whether your abstraction is a function or a node, you can get a lot of traction on the old cloud road. If your app goes down at 3 a.m., and it will, you gotta own that. It's your problem still. There's no silver bullet, hocus pocus magic guarantee, but when business is your focus, you'll be where you want to be. Thank you very much. But let's get serious now for a minute. Serverless isn't the problem, is it? Containers aren't the problem. There's no magic reorg that's going to deliver value somehow to our customers. Even the right vision isn't enough. We can attend all these talks and buy every one of IT Revolution's wonderful books. You can probably ask ChatGPT to generate a 12-point business turnaround plan, and I'm sure it will do it for you. But none of it means anything without what? The people, right, who have to execute these things. You can't transform your organization until you empower the people in it to transform themselves. I have one more song to play for you tonight, but before I do, I want to introduce you to a young man named Daniel Singletary. Let's see if I can figure this out. This is a pointer. Well, let's see. I'm not known. There we go. Solved one problem today. All right, this is Daniel. Daniel I met about 3 years ago. At that time, he was a residential and commercial plumber working in Atlanta, Georgia. And he was doing all the things you might expect a plumber to do, long days on his feet a lot. Shortly before I met him, Daniel got called out to a shopping mall there in Atlanta because the owners were reporting a strange and horrible smell permeating the entire building. Maybe something you'd expect a plumber to deal with. So Daniel heads out there, and right away, the smell hits him in the face. It's inescapable. So, first troubleshooting step, heads into the bathroom, takes one of the toilets off the floor, and immediately he's hit with a blast of noxious air. The way he described it later was, he said it was like having a leaf blower blowing sewer gas in your face. Now, I'm not a plumber, but Daniel assures me that not only is that not something that should happen, it shouldn't even be possible, right? Sewer pipes don't blow air at you, so something really weird is going on here. How do you go about breaking down a problem like that? Well, in Daniel's case, he came back to the business with a colleague, and over the next 2 days, they started at opposite ends of the building and systematically worked their way toward each other as they unscrewed, tested, and rescrewed every pipe fitting in the building, and they could not find where this air was escaping. Finally, they narrowed the problem down to 2 businesses in the center of the complex, a restaurant and a nail salon, and they knew they had to try something else. So this is where they tried a smoke test. Who here has done a smoke test in the context of software engineering? Yeah, well, almost all of us have, right? Did you know that's a real term with a real smoke-related meaning? I didn't, but it turns out that in plumbing, what a smoke test is you get up on the roof and you find a vent and you drop a smoke bomb down it. That's a smoke test in plumbing. And you do that because anywhere that smoke can get out, well, the noxious gas could be getting out as well, but we can see smoke with a flashlight. So that clears up the problem in pretty short order. It turns out that someone has tied the vent hood for the restaurant's commercial stove into the sewer system. And that explains that. It was around that time, I believe, that Daniel decided that he was ready to look for a new career, possibly even one where he could choose what to smell from time to time. And that is how Daniel and I met, because his roommate worked in IT. His roommate had introduced him to something that I had created called the Cloud Resume Challenge, which is a community initiative designed to help people like Daniel who are looking to break into technology. If you've not seen the Cloud Resume Challenge, you can check it out. It is at cloudresumechallenge.dev, and it looks like this. It looks like a wall of text. It's not a video course you watch. It's not a certification you can take, although we do encourage you to get a certification, as you can see. But it's a set of steps, basically a spec, that helps non-traditional career changer learners, so think people without like a traditional 4-year college degree in computer science, take their first steps toward a career in cloud and get some learning and building like an engineer. And I'll show you what that looks like. So this is a real architecture diagram created by one of our challengers. They're putting their personal website in the cloud, and look at all the things that they've got going on here. They've got to use infrastructure as code. That's required in the spec. They've got to, there's a small serverless API happening. They've got a full CI/CD pipeline. They're programming in at least 2 programming languages. There's authentication, networking, security involved. If you can complete all 16 steps of the Cloud Resume Challenge, and many people don't, you've done something not only that a lot of, let's say, 4-year university computer science graduates have done, but a lot of established professionals haven't either. Every day we have, people that are 3 or 4 years into their career who are taking this on saying, yeah, I've never strung all those skills together. I'd like that on my resume. So put yourself in Daniel's shoes and imagine how he felt looking at this architecture diagram for the first time, thinking, is this what I have to do to get a career in technology? What do you think was going through his mind? I'll tell you exactly what was going through his mind. He said, that looks familiar. So he went out and bought a whiteboard. This is his real whiteboard. He sent me a picture of it. And he called what he drew there to make sense of the project an engineered print, because that's what they call it in the trades. He did not realize he was drawing his very first cloud architecture diagram. Over the next couple of weeks, Daniel spent part of his time working on sewer pipelines and the rest working on CI/CD pipelines. He was working in the back of his truck during the day. Then he'd get home at the end of these 11-hour days, and he's slinging Python and JavaScript. He's learning about YAML for the first time. Let's pour one out for this man. And, he thinks about giving up, I'm sure, multiple times, but at the end of that time, he's actually done it. Front to back, he's built this stack. He's deployed it in the cloud, and it is live today. You can check it out at dsresume.com. And is it the most beautiful CSS formatted website you've ever seen in your life? No, but it doesn't matter. I call it the greatest resume I've ever seen, because just look at the credentials that Daniel has on his resume. He's a licensed journeyman plumber. He's certified in backflow prevention and cross-connection control inspection, and he's got 4 certifications on AWS. How cool is that? I just love that story. And look, the last step of the Cloud Resume Challenge is you've got to write a blog post telling the world about what you did. Daniel's post was called A Plumber's Guide to Cloud. It went viral on LinkedIn, was eventually viewed more than 200,000 times. And just a couple of months later, Daniel started his new career as a DevOps engineer at a large enterprise. And as well he should, right? Because when I talked to the hiring team that had brought Daniel on, they told me they liked that he had done this technical project. It was cool to see he had some aptitude for that. But let's be real, he's still very inexperienced. He's going to need a lot of training. But what they really liked was that story of the leaf blower sewer. Just think for a moment about what's being demonstrated by that story, okay? Daniel's able to take a gigantic, pretty diffuse problem, this entire building stinks, break it down into its constituent parts. He's able to work with a colleague, basically to pair program, to divide and conquer, make their way toward the solution as they eliminate possibilities. He gets tracing and observability. That's what that smoke testing thing was, right? And perhaps most importantly, he has a great grasp of business continuity. He knew that he couldn't take apart the entire shopping mall's plumbing system for an undefined length of time while he pieced through all the parts. That wasn't going to work. He was going to have to troubleshoot it live, and so he did. And for that reason and many others, Daniel was a rock-solid, real-world operator, and he's killing it in his career still today. As are Jacob, who was an infectious disease researcher. He's got some great COVID pandemic stories as they apply to tech, and Brooke, who worked for T-Mobile, and Shadiamond, who was in HR, and many, many other wonderful people whose stories you can read at cloudresumechallenge.dev. Many of these folks are now my friends and colleagues in the industry, and I wish that I had so many more of those stories to tell you. But unfortunately, a lot of times what I hear 6-9 months later is these Cloud Resume champions who've completed the project come back to me and they say, it's not that we're failing interviews, we just can't get job interviews. We're being told, oh, we don't have any positions open for junior engineers right now. Or we're being told, oh yeah, we have this new grad program, so just go be 22 years old again and come fresh out of college, and then we've got a perfect spot available for you, right? All these things that we tell new grads, and it's not working for them, and it's not really working for us either. We're depriving ourselves of the opportunity to have some of these incredible real-world operators as part of our teams. And look, I mean, I get it. We all have priorities and budget constraints and hiring freezes and who knows what all going on. That's true of any micro moment in tech. But at some point, we're going to have to think about this more strategically, aren't we? I mean, we've been hearing so much about generative AI today. We heard about Jevons paradox a little earlier, this idea that as you make something more efficient to consume, and there's elastic demand for it, that demand actually goes up. You know, we're seeing that now with code. The more of this code we generate, the more rock-solid real-world operators we're going to need to maintain that code and harden it and be on call for it at 3 a.m, right? And these people have to come from somewhere. Where are they all going to come from? How many are we going to need? I'll give you a number. That number is 40 million. This is how many new cloud builders Google Cloud is saying we're going to need in the industry by the end of the decade. AWS and others have put broadly similar numbers out there. There is no university computer science pipeline big enough to force all those people through it. We have to think bigger. We have to be more creative with where we look for this talent and how we create programs to nurture and onboard it inside of our teams. So, what does that actually look like? It's easy to say, standing up here. On a rock-solid, practical level, what does that look like? You know, it's interesting. The team that brought Daniel Singletary on, they actually went on, because they had such a good experience with Daniel, they went on to hire, I think, 6 more non-traditional career changers onto that team within that enterprise. And in order to do that, they kind of had to back their way into creating what we would probably call an apprenticeship program. And I think that's fascinating because guess who had lots of experience being in an apprenticeship program? It was Daniel. That's how he got into plumbing, right? And a lot of the things he had to do to be a successful plumbing apprentice translated right along to tech. I'll give you 3 quick examples. So, at least in the US, I'm not sure about Europe, when you have an internship in the trades, typically you don't pin on to one practitioner. You get rotated around to multiple plumbers or electricians or whatever through your local trade board. And I'm sure some of those people were better to work with than others. I'm not claiming that the trades are this panacea of empathy and nurturing behavior. But in the same way, when Daniel got to tech, his team had to identify some specific senior engineers who were willing basically to pair program with him and help him get up to speed. And that means those people in turn had to be incentivized, right? This isn't something you can necessarily just ask people to take on if they're not bought into it. You had to make sure that was part of a growth ladder for those seniors just as much as it was for Daniel. At the same time, you had to get top-down support from leadership as well. You've got to have buy-in on this. I mean, in the plumbing world, apprentices get paid. They don't get paid much, but they do get paid for every hour that they worked. In the same way, if you're going to bring someone in, you've got to set expectations with your leadership in tech that, hey, this person might not be 100% ready to contribute, at an autonomous level yet, but we believe that there's value in investing in this person. We think that there's a sustainable talent pipeline to be developed by doing this kind of thing. And then finally, there had to be some structure and some objective goals around that program, right? When Daniel had completed his plumbing apprenticeship, he knew he was done because he was able to go pass the test and get certified as a journeyman plumber and start out on his own. What does that look like in tech? Does it look like, hey, you're going to reach a point where we feel we can take the associate off your title? Does it look like you're going to be able to be on call all by yourself without somebody holding your hand? Does it look like you have to complete this number of certifications or whatever we've identified as a benchmark of, being able to kind of take the kid gloves off and let you have access to production? Whatever that is for your team, you need to know it going in so you don't leave people in this state of limbo. And I would love to talk to you much more about that later tonight. We're all asking for help with different things. My ask is to help me, help you, help others, okay? We've had thousands, probably tens of thousands at this point, of people that have gone through the Cloud Resume Challenge over the past 3 years. These people have wonderfully unique stories of how they've been brought up in tech, the challenges they've faced trying to get hired, what has worked for them. We need to be sharing those practices more broadly. So please come find me afterwards or reach out to me. You can see my Twitter, my email address here. I would love to talk to you. This is not part of my regular job. It's just something that I do because it needs to be done, and I would love your help in doing it. Let me leave you with this. Every one of us here in this room is here because at some point in the past, somebody took a chance on you. Somebody looked at you when you had no experience and said, that person has the aptitude and motivation to succeed in this field, and I believe I can teach them the rest. And you proved them right. So how are you paying that forward? I have one more song to play for you tonight. I actually wrote this song for my daughter, who just celebrated her first birthday. And as you go back to your teams and create cultures of mentorship and belonging there. Wasn't that smooth? Look at that. Went from mic to mic. Great work. I hope that as you go back to your teams, that this will resonate with you. The song is called You Belong. You won't always feel like a rock star. Sometimes you'll struggle just to carry the tune. In the mirror you'll see an imposter, and you'll wonder if the whole world's smarter than you, and stronger and faster, and you're a disaster. But baby, you're wrong, 'cause you belong. Even when you don't believe it, you belong. I've got help here when you need it, just hold on. Yeah, the road ahead looks steep, so take my hand, we'll make the leap together. Oh, 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 you belong. Oh, 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 oh. Sometimes you'll feel kind of burned out. You'll meet some folks who seem diffuse and unfair. Or you'll have a dream and it turns out that no one else around you seems to care. And when you see what you're up against, it's fine to fight, to feel incensed, or just to move on. 'Cause you belong in a place where you're supported. You belong where you're challenged and rewarded. Just hold on as you feel your power growing. You can choose the way you're going, and it's oh, 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 where you belong. Oh, 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 oh. And one of these days you're gonna reach the mountaintop. Yeah, it's not if, but when. And when you do, I hope you'll take a beat to stop and celebrate how far you've come. Remember where you've been, and then reach back to those behind you. Shine a light so they can find you. Help the ones you can. Then sing to them again. Tell them you belong. When you're new and nervous, then you still belong. I know it 'cause I've been, you just hold on. Yeah, the road ahead is steep, so take my hand, we'll make the leap together. Oh, whoa, oh, 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 you belong. Oh, whoa, oh, let's sing it together now. Oh, whoa, oh, oh, you belong. Oh, whoa, oh, we can do better than that. Let's try again. Oh, whoa, oh, oh, where you belong. Oh, Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of DevOps Enterprise Summit.